Hi there, I'm Danny Flexen and welcome to this week's edition of SecondsOut Flexpectations. I'm here every Thursday 4:30pm to look ahead to the boxing action of the weekend. And before we get going on the main show, I'm going to be talking about Saturday night, Frank Warren's show at York Hall. I want to just briefly talk about another few fights that are worthy of your attention this weekend, starting with super middleweight Umar Sadiq taking a bit of a calculated risk, going out to Russia, the TV studio over there, to take on Fedor Chudinov, current WBA gold champion for that title. And although there's so much criticism of the proliferation of title belts in boxing, particularly towards the WBA, this is a belt that can get you places and would probably, if Sadiq wins, put him in line for a shot at one of the other WBA belts in the division, the regular or the main title. And although the belts themselves may not be worthy of your respect, the people that hold them may well be. And the WBA super champion at the moment is, of course, Callum Smith. So, it's a route to a potentially bigger fights. Maybe not Smith, but maybe others in or around that level for Sadiq if he can pull it off. It looks an arduous task though. Chudinov, very experienced. He's only 5 months older than Sadiq, who started the pro game quite late after a accomplished amateur career. But Chudinov's had almost twice the number of fights, or maybe more than twice the number of fights. I'll have to double check that. He's only lost twice. One was a really tight decision to Felix Sturm, and directly after that lost by stoppage to George Groves in the fight where Groves, of course, finally at the fourth time of asking, captured a world title, and that was for a vacant belt. So Chudinov's been in with the better opposition. He's on a decent winning run since losing to Groves. He beat Hassan Ndam in his last fight back in December, and I think Ndam was coming off that win here over Martin Murray, not here in my house, but here in the UK. So good form, quality of opposition. He's strong, he's tough, sound fundamentals. Sadiq over in Russia, you hate to say it, but will probably need a stoppage or a knockout to win over 12 rounds. Incidentally, he's never been 12 rounds. I think Chudinov's been 5 or 6 times and only lost that one to Sturm, having completed the championship distance. So Sadiq does look up against it. And although he's got 6 early victories in 10, 3 of those I think were via retirement, and all of them were against fighters with losing records. So there's nothing to show as yet that Sadiq is a concussive puncher at top level. If he's going to win this, he'll need to pick off Chudinov, grind him down, take his heart away, and gradually beat him up. And I'm not saying that's impossible. I think technically he's the better boxer. But the problem is out there, referee probably against him, hate to say it, judges. There's a chance that he could be overwhelmed, or even if he does go the distance, does really well, he might not get the decision. But I think it is one of those fights where there's not much going on at the moment due to COVID. Sadiq's waiting on a shot at the British super middleweight title, which he's in line for against Lerone Richards. That's been delayed probably until next year now, when crowds come back. So he's assuming that shot is still secure, which I have no reason to believe it's not. He's got nothing to lose. He can always come back and compete at domestic level. So if he puts a good account of himself in against Chudinov, a world level performer, even if he doesn't get the decision, he will have gained from the experience and he'll get a much needed payday. So fair play to him for taking that gamble on around 2 weeks notice, I think it is as well. So yeah, hats off to Umar Sadiq. Top Rank are also back in the bubble on Saturday night. They deserve a lot of credit for really keeping boxing going during the pandemic and ensuing lockdown after that as well. Some people have criticised some of the fights and some have praised others, but they've been the most consistent in getting their boxers out there. So you've got to give them respect for that. You've got Miguel Mariaga, who you'll probably remember losing bravely to Oscar Valdez and then Vasil Lomachenko in incredibly tough back-to-back fights. I don't know who he annoyed at Top Rank to get those assignments back-to-back, but he's been on a decent winning run since. They've rebuilt him. He's going up against Joet Gonzalez, who kind of went the other way in that he had relatively kind of gradual improving opposition, and then in his last fight almost a year ago took a big jump up against Shakur Stevenson for the vacant WBO featherweight title and got whitewashed on the cards. And that was an interesting one as well, because I think Stevenson is or was in a relationship with Joette's sister, and the families didn't talk, and yeah, it was all very soap opera like. But in the ring, there was only ever going to be one winner. But I think Mariaga and Joet Gonzalez are quite well matched, so that's a fight that I'm quite looking forward to. And then I think there's a welterweight fight on there as well that's worthy of looking in the chief support. Zuski, who's always in entertaining fights, he's on the undercard, so that's well worth watching if you've got a way of watching it. But the big fight for us in the UK this weekend is the Frank Warren show, featuring Anthony Yarde against Dec Spelman in the main event. We obviously saw Dec Spelman not too long ago lose fairly clearly against Lyndon Arthur for the Commonwealth title, but he said he took that fight on short notice, struggled to shift the weight, and that's one of the reasons behind what was a dogged but ultimately fruitless performance. Against Yarde, the style should suit him more. Yarde's more of an aggressive fighter, I think, than Arthur. And also he's had more time to prepare, and it's at a catch weight of 12 stone 12 pounds, not the championship limit of 12.7. So all these things should certainly produce a better Dec Spelman. Whether that's enough to challenge or even beat Anthony Yarde is another matter. Yarde does look a level above, but he's been out the ring for a while himself. Spelman's certainly been in far more recently than Yarde, and he's coming in full of confidence. And let's face it, similar to Sadiq going out to Russia, very little to lose. So that'll be interesting, if for nothing else than for that factor. But the big fight I'm looking forward to on there, and you'll have seen that from chairing the head-to-head that went up on the channel yesterday, is the middleweight clash between once beaten Mark Heffron and unbeaten Denzel Bentley. Two aggressive, powerful operators at middleweight. One stat that I pulled out the other day that I haven't mentioned on camera yet is that out of all their wins, I think almost 2/3 have come against fighters with losing records. Now that isn't an advert for the fight, of course, but it shows that they haven't really been tested. And the only time that Heffron was seriously tested against Liam Williams, he came up well short despite a brave effort. So this is the acid test for both of them. You know, on paper they're really well matched. I think Heffron, last time I checked, was a slight favourite with the bookies, but really marginal. And not only will it be an incredibly exciting fight, I think, but it's a crucial crossroads fight. They're both still quite young, and the winner of this can use it as a springboard to top domestic level at least. But the loser is going to find themselves with not many places to go. I mean, they're still young enough to rebuild, of course, but this is a pivotal fight in both their careers. So I'm looking forward to that. Also, welterweight contest on the bill. Cedric Payno, Frenchman who gave Conor Benn trouble, certainly in the first of their two fights. He's coming back over. Always nice to see him. Takes on Echo Esserman, English welterweight champion, who's angling for a fight with Ben or at the British title held by Chris Jenkins. Really lovely guy, Echo. Spoke to him yesterday. That's up on the channel now. He's a good technical boxer, but got really good conditioning as well. Strong physically. Long-time GB amateur. Payno, dogged. I think I've used that word already to describe Spelman, but he is tenacious. Maybe that's better. Rumbles forward. Former kickboxer. Got a bit of power himself as well, and he'll come confident. He always is. But you would expect Esserman to get the job done either with a late stoppage or on points. And this could be a real coming out party for him, if you like. He's built his career on small halls and under the radar, but this is his Queensbury Promotions debut, BT Sport, and he'll get the exposure that perhaps his talents have long deserved. So they're the fights I'm looking forward to over the weekend. I'd like to know which fights you're most looking forward to. And if you're picking any upsets, if so, which ones? Who do you think is going to come out on top from the B side, if you like, of the cards? I'll be back on Monday for reflections, looking back on these shows, 4:30 p.m. And next Thursday, of course, for Flexpectations once again at the same time. Really appreciate it, and I will see you soon. Cheers.